The Super Bowl, Formula One, and now the Final Four. How Las Vegas continues landing some major sporting events. That's this week on Nevada Week.
Support for Nevada Week is provided by Senator William H. Hernstedt.
Welcome to Nevada Week. I'm Amber Renee Dixon. Just 1 year ago, the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority launched a campaign calling Las Vegas the greatest arena on earth.
In Las Vegas, it is always on.
The ad came mere days before the LVCVA announced that Las Vegas would be hosting its very first Super Bowl. And in the 12 months since then, Las Vegas has gone on to secure Formula One and the Final Four. Joining us for more on what it took to get these marquee sporting events are Steve Hill, Chief Executive Officer and President of the LVCVA, and Jim Gibson, Chairman of the Clark County Commission and LVCVA Board Secretary. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. These are huge events that not too long ago, I think a lot of people thought Las Vegas might never get. Did you fall into that category, Steve?
Sure. Maybe someday kind of thing, but certainly not this quickly. When the conversation around the stadium first started and the idea that an NFL team could move to Las Vegas, that was 2015. That still seemed like, I don't know about that. We can try, but things have changed quickly, and it's really been to the benefit of the city.
I imagine someday there might be an opportunity, but it has happened so quickly. It's hard to keep track of all the exciting things that are coming.
And what do you attribute this to?
Well, I think that the one most significant event, as was suggested by Steve, was the announcement and then the construction of a stadium, so Allegiant Stadium and the NFL presence here. It opened doors. It allowed us to show ourselves in a different way. It enabled us to do a few more things that I'm not really sure we fully understood. I mean, that stadium is busy with tens of thousands of people in there for shows and other events all the time.
That surprised you?
And I don't know that it surprised me. I just hadn't thought out beyond there'll be all these great football games here, right? UNLV and the Raiders play there, and it was exciting to see that. I hadn't thought much about what else would be there. I imagined that there would be more, but had no clue that it would be used as much as it is and be such a great draw.
As far as the Final Four, how long has the LVCVA pursued the Final Four?
Well, really, since the stadium was built.
Okay.
We did not have a venue where we could host a Final Four because they need 65,000 fans or more, and so we needed a stadium in order to be able to do that. When we were analyzing the possibility of building a stadium, we talked about what the marquee events could be in that building and the desire to bring those events to Las Vegas. The Final Four is certainly one of those. And so we've really been working on it since then, but the conversation with the NCAA really couldn't happen in earnest until the PASPA was repealed, the prohibition in sports gaming.
I'm glad you brought that up because, yes, the stadium is one aspect, but the legalization of sports betting across the country in several states, how did that make it okay for the NCAA to hold this event here, even though, I mean, the Pac-12 championship is here, Mountain West Conference, how significant was that?
Well, the repeal of that law was really just a confirmation of the evolution of this in the country over a 20, 30, 40-year period of time. Nevada's always called ourselves the gold standard of gaming regulation. But I moved here 35 years ago, and we were one of only two places in the country where that could actually take place. Now you can drive 50 miles in any direction and find a few places to do it no matter where you live. So people gotten to the point across the country where they realized the points we had been making in Nevada for a long time were right. And finally, that law's repeal really just confirmed what everybody already knew.
Expected economic impact of the Final Four. Would that be you or would that be Steve?
Well, probably Steve. We know that it'll be incredible. You know, we've had the Final Four in Las Vegas forever. The way that we approached it was we marketed the city and the incredible screens and the sports books, and come to Las Vegas and attend the Final Four, watch the Final Four in Las Vegas. So it's not something that we're not known, that we didn't know about. Obviously, the financial and the economic impact is something. What are we estimating, Steve?
Well, we think the impact of the Final Four is going to be about $250 million. And that's an incremental amount. That's despite the fact that we are full for people coming here to watch the event. In almost every one of these events, there are more people in Las Vegas, even when the event isn't here, than there is in the city where the event is taking place. It's a pretty remarkable phenomenon. We already have the fan base that wants to come to Vegas to experience this.
I'm glad you brought that up because some of the estimates I've seen are $100 to $150 million, but those other cities don't have the infrastructure, the sports betting aspect, and I mean, not to the degree that Las Vegas does, and the ability to host it as, like you said, an event, even though prior it wasn't actually physically here. It was already an event.
Well, what you see with events in Las Vegas is that the event will draw the crowd that the event draws, but people will come around that event to just be in the same location. There will be kind of events that spring up around the main event. The rodeo's in town right now. It's a perfect example of that. There are 20,000 people at the rodeo every night. There's probably 50,000 people in town because the rodeo is here. That's a phenomenon that Las Vegas has created that just doesn't exist in other places.
And when you consider that we have as many rooms as we have proximate to any event that happens anywhere in Clark County, but along the Strip and places close to it, Thomas and Mack is close. There just is nothing like it. I mean, I think there are 3 intersections along Las Vegas Boulevard where there are more hotel rooms on the intersection than there are in the entire city of San Francisco, for instance. You know, that is something that we're unique, and it qualifies us to make a more intimate experience for the people who come here.
I've had the opportunity to kind of express this to a couple of these big organizations that are bringing these events here. The difference between a Raiders football game and a Super Bowl, for example, is there's probably 5,000 or 10,000 people at the Raiders game who feel like they're a VIP. When you go to a Super Bowl, there are 65,000 people there who feel like they are a VIP. In most other cities, that VIP is going to be in a hotel that's 75 miles away that is not really where they want to stay. It's the only place they can stay. This is the only city in the world that has the ability to treat 65,000 people like a VIP. There's no place else that can do that. The experience that we are going to be able to provide for a Super Bowl, for a Final Four, for when we get a college football national championship is unparalleled. It just can't happen anyplace else. And those people who are deciding where those events come are seeing that, they recognize that, and they want to be a part of that.
Formula One, I gotta ask, who reached out to who to pursue that? Because according to the Wall Street Journal, this is one of the biggest hurdles logistically for the sport because of how the roads are set up. And then also, it wasn't too long ago that Formula One was seemingly pulling back from the United States. So I can't imagine you were out there pursuing them.
No, actually, they first called me in the summer of 2019 and expressed an interest to come and have a race in Las Vegas. And that seemed like a pretty heavy lift, and I wasn't sure how well that would be accepted in Las Vegas. But then the pandemic hit. And so we really weren't in a position to pursue it. You know, Formula One is based in London. They couldn't travel to the United States to really do the diligence to find out whether they thought it would work in our city. So they couldn't come until September of 21. And so Stefano Domenicali, who's the CEO now of Formula One, came to Vegas in September of 21, and we started the conversation then.
Also during the pandemic is when people were watching a lot of Netflix, and the Formula One Netflix series came out and really started making it popular here in the U.S. How much, though, is this going to cost the county to put on those infrastructure improvements that need to be made, Jim?
Well, in terms of which party bears the cost, we haven't really determined that yet. We're working very hard with Formula One, so this isn't about us against them. This is about us working with them to make sure that we cover everything. There's a whole lot of infrastructure that is required in order to do this show, right? I mean, this event requires a different asphalt mix on the roadway from what we typically have on our streets. It requires barriers everywhere to provide a very safe environment. It actually will include barriers around some rooms. So there will be people who will be staying in hotels, but those people will be bounded by barriers that are the track. So police and fire and public works and virtually, I don't know that this hasn't touched virtually every different department of the county. So there's a whole lot that will be provided in support. But when you think of an event that will attract, we're estimating 170,000 people, maybe more, with a direct incremental spend of $400 million and maybe the total economic impact of, say, $700 million, we'll work it out.
I'm intrigued by that asphalt aspect. Is that going to change? I mean, that's permanent.
It's permanent. It's permanent. We hope that track lasts a while because our expectation is that we have the Las Vegas Grand Prix here forever.
And I'm hearing, well, at least the Review Journal reported $30 million in infrastructure improvements. Does that sound about right to you?
The entire infrastructure improvement, particularly if you include the land that Liberty Media, who's the parent company of Formula One, bought, the amount of construction they're doing on their own on that land, that's probably a $400 million investment there.
Wow.
The entire construction project for the circuit itself is about $100 million. The number that's come out around the conversation with the county has been in that $30 million range as just a part of all, the $500 million roughly investment that Formula One is making in this city.
Did you want to add something?
Well, all I was going to say is that there's a whole lot of work that we're doing anyway on Las Vegas Boulevard and some of the other streets, and we have scheduled our regular maintenance. So that part of it we're prepared to pay anyway. We would have to pay. We'll upgrade the asphalt mix so that it is whatever they require in order to put those cars on it and race them fast. And we don't have to replace entire roadways. We have half of Las Vegas Strip, I think, in the area from Sands or Spring Mountain to Harmon. We'll have, I think, one full side from the curb to the median will be the new asphalt mix. But we're replacing all the infrastructure under that roadway anyway. So we're digging all that up. Our expectation is that there's a whole lot of this that we would be paying for anyway.
Real quickly, gentlemen, we've run out of time, but the next major league professional sports team to come to Las Vegas, if you were putting some money on it, what would it be, Steve?
Well, baseball seems pretty interested right this minute, so we hope that we can find a way to make that happen. That'd be great.
All right.
Baseball, when the commissioner announced they've waived the relocation fee for the A's to come to Las Vegas, not anywhere else, it makes that at the top of the list.
I thought you were going to say NBA, but hey, baseball both sides.
Well, we're not saying an NBA is not coming.
Okay,
so
okay.
we think that too.
We know they're out there.
Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time.